Hi, and welcome to St. Stephen's Kids Online. I'm Kate, and I'm so glad you've joined me this week. We are in a summer series for Sunday school called Creative with God. We've been out in God's beautiful creation, and we've also been talking with friends from St. Stephen's who are creative in unique ways and connect with God through their hobbies and talents and gifts. We've been invited to join along. Just like last week with Ed, we joined along with his trumpet, tooting on our paper horns. I don't know about you, but when I woke up in the morning and saw the beautiful sun coming out, it just made me want to praise God. And actually, I do like watching the stars that night too. And that reminded me of Ed's beautiful lullaby that he did on his trumpet too. This week, we're going to be looking at all these beautiful things in God's creation through the eyes of an artist who likes to paint. And she's going to teach us how to view things in a different way. And as she moves her paintbrush and invites us to do too, we know that God is with us. So are you ready to join us? Let's go. Hi, friends. Here I am again. And I'm with another of my friends from St. Stephen's. You may know her too. This is Terrell. And I'm not sure if you know it, but she is an art teacher. So she's going to share with us how she is created with God through art. Hi, Terrell.
Hi, Kate.
Thanks for being with us today. So I'm interested to know how you got started in art and teaching art as well.
Well, it's kind of a weird story because I started as a teacher, and then I taught for a while in special ed with some handicapped children. And then when I had my own children, I did some other things. I actually worked at St. Stephen's preschool and things. And then when I wanted to get back into teaching, I was having in Fairfax County, I was having trouble getting a job. And Kathy here from our church actually was working at a school, and I got a permanent sub job there. And eventually the principal wanted me to teach art because he knew I knew the kids, but I didn't know anything about art. And he said, "That's okay, don't worry. You, because you know the kids, that's more important to me." So I started out, I took classes at Nova, and I ended up loving it. And that felt like that in itself felt like such a God kind of thing, that I was led to just kind of happenstance doing something like this that ended up being a great thing.
Wow, that is a great story. Unexpected.
Yes, unexpected, wonderful thing.
Yeah. So what do you enjoy most about teaching art?
I enjoy when the students start to decide they like it, for one thing, um, or when kids who think they aren't that interested in art find that, or they think they're not good, and then they find that they can do something they didn't think they'd be able to do. Just this, even virtually, we've had some people in person, and one of the teachers came to me and said that there was a student who at the beginning of the year didn't like to draw, didn't, art wasn't his thing. And when I left the last time, he was like, "Oh, you're such a great art teacher. I love art," and all these. It's just nice when those kinds of moments.
It's like you're able to see the joy in them as they are enjoying art through your
Right.
teaching. That is neat. So if you think about painting, one of the art media, how do you think that when you're painting, and especially if you think about maybe being outside in God's creation, how does painting help you connect with God?
When I'm outside, I just feel very much like God had to have created all this beauty, because outside is just always amazing to me. It's one of the happiest kind of joy-filled times I feel. And when I paint, like I love doing art outside too when I have a chance. That's really fun. And that makes it makes me feel more creative and more connected to both the art and to God.
That is neat. There is an awesomeness about God that is indescribable sometimes. How he created everything that's huge, but also very small, and did the intricate details too. Well, I'm wondering if you'd be willing to give us an art lesson.
I would love to give an art lesson.
Okay. Kids, if you need to stop the video and go get some supplies for a painting lesson with Cheryl, go ahead and push pause and then come right back when you're ready.
And they'll need paint, either watercolors or acrylic paint. I'm also going to show you how you don't need to have all the colors to make the different things, and a pencil and paper. I usually also get a paper towel to help with the brushes, and a brush and a little bit of water.
Okay, sounds good.
So I'm going to do a lesson I like that's from Georgia O'Keeffe. She's a famous American artist, and she's famous for her big flowers. It's considered abstract when something is enlarged, bigger than, that's one way to make something not totally realistic, but so that you still know what it is. So I'm going to kind of show you two different large flower pictures and a simple way to draw them. So the first thing I'm going to do is I like to just take something I have sitting around and trace it for a circle for the middle. And these are kind of the easiest flowers. So here's one. This is like a really easy flower. It's the dogwood. It's and it's Virginia, for those who's living in Virginia. It's our state flower. So an easy way to do that is kind of make a circle, then go with kind of this X pattern. One there, one there, one there, and one there. And in these flower paintings, you don't have to show the whole flower. In fact, most of the time you won't, especially if you're doing a rectangular size paper. So for this one, I'm going to go out like that and like that. There's also kind of a notch on the end of a dogwood. So I usually kind of put that in there. But again, I'm not really seeing the whole flower. Then I'm feeling like it's not as connected as I'd like it. So I'm just kind of making it a little bigger. Then over here, if you didn't want to do a dogwood, just to kind of show you another quick way to do one, is do a flower center and then making lines like a clock, and you go out like 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and then you just put another line in between if you want, or you could go with the 4 and then you make those into petals. So just to show you a quick way that you could make a couple different kinds of flowers. But I'll paint on the dogwood because it has less petals and it's a little easier. I also, with the dogwood, I also usually like, there's kind of seeds in the middle. So I kind of draw these. But you can also do this with the paint. And I kind of, instead of just my set circle, little rubbing. So something like that. Now, if you have watercolor, you want to be more concerned about your lines because you see through them. So you might want to erase, but with acrylic paint, you'll be covering it up, so it won't matter. One of the main things that I try to teach my students is that we paint the background first, because they always wanted paint like the last thing we drew. And that's the last thing we want to paint is the closest part to us. We want to start with whatever painting we're doing, a landscape or a flower, with what's behind the background first. So I'm using my water. I'm gonna make so that you'll be able to see it better. So for my background, I'm gonna do blue. So I have some blue acrylic paint. I got a little on my coffee table here, so I'm gonna try and get a little bit of that off. Okay. So I have some blue. And I start in and I go out. And it's okay if you get a little on the flower. I try to stay off it a little bit, but you can always, you'll see how you can kind of blend it in, and it ends up, you know, usually kind of adding some shadows and things. So that's all right.
I like how much you're telling me that I can do it my way.
Yeah.
I think that's wonderful for us to remember to be ourselves when we're
Yes,
creative.
Right, and you don't have to do a blue background. You can do a different color background if you want. Although it usually works better if you do something dark against something light, just so it shows up. But, but not always. There's always happy accidents in other ways too. So, and when I finish the background, then I'm going to do my petals. And the main thing people have to remember about the petals is to go in the direction of the petal. So for instance, and I'm going to make, I don't have pink paint, so I'm going to show you, I want to make a pink dogwood. There are pink dogwoods and white dogwoods. But I like it to show up a little. So I'm going to make some pink paint by mixing a little bit of my white in with a little red. Because white and red make pink. So I'm going to go like that. And I'm pulling, and see how some of my blue's getting in there. That's okay. I'm going to think of that as like a shadow. Actually kind of like, and if it's more of a shadow than I want, I'll cover it up some. I kind of missed part of my corner there, but I might have to go back and do that. it's kind of red for dogwood. Another thing you could do is let your background dry before you go on. Sometimes I try and do that too.
Mm-hmm. So then the paint doesn't mix as much.
Right. I'm blending in more white. But notice the main thing is going in the direction of the petal. So the strokes go in that particular direction, like the way that a petal goes.
Right. It's amazing that just that little change in the way you paint can make a big difference in how it looks.
It really does. Yes, the direction of the strokes is surprising.
It makes me wonder, did God know that when he made all the little parts of flowers? And was he thinking about the direction that it was going and all those little details? And I think the answer is yes, which is amazing.
It is amazing.
How beautiful he was able to do that and cared about all the little things.
It makes me think of that All Things Bright and Beautiful song.
Yes. Sometimes we think of how big God is and majestic, which he is, but it's good to remember that he also cares about the little things.
Yes. See, and kind of the nice thing about mixing your paint is that you end up naturally with the shadows and the lights and the darks,
Mm-hmm.
and it not all exactly the same.
Which means also every time you paint it, it's not always the same. So even within yourself, you could be painting the same thing, but it turns out differently.
Right, which is always nice.
Yeah. This is very calming, going back and forth with my brush.
It is. It's very nice, and it has. Yeah, I did some this summer. I learned about, we did some basket weaving, different things outside. All of that is, and the repetitiveness of some of it
Yes.
is very calming.
Yes. It
So
helps me just focus on what I'm doing and not worry about anything else right now.
yeah. Now I'm going to go back. I missed my corners, so I'm going to go back. I should have done those before, but I see I can go back and then later, if it looks too much like it's on top, I can go back and do more of that other part. So I'm going to show you the middle. So again, I didn't have any green paint. So the way to make green paint is to take blue and yellow. So I take a little corner of mine and I'm going to make green. So I like, when I do dogwoods, I kind of like to do green with some yellow in it. So I'm going to kind of make darker spots with the green. And again, my blue is getting mixed in there too. And then I'm going to go and get my just yellow. Do some of the seeds.
Oh, I like how the different color there really brings out a texture as if it's bumping off of the page towards us.
Yes. Yeah, it's nice to get some texture in things. And again, with the direction and with some flowers, like thinking of a sunflower, that would be like a stippling where you would just go kind of like dot, 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 dot kind of
Okay.
thing,
Okay.
which is enough. So depending on your flower, you would do different things. So
Wow.
that's basically the idea of how to make a really big Georgia O'Keeffe type flower.
Wow. That was fun. Thank you for sharing with us how to do that and also just being with us while we had that experience.
Well, thank you for having me. It was very fun. I always love to paint.
Well, we enjoyed painting with you and hearing you share about how you're creative with God in this way. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Kate. Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
What a beautiful time we spent with Terrell. I loved watching her paint, and she was so encouraging to me as she was describing the ways to paint and make it look beautiful, but also reminding me that it didn't matter. I could do things my way. And that's a good thing to remember too. God doesn't care exactly how it looks. He just wants to spend time with you. And I know he was with us while we were painting. How did your painting turn out? I'm still working on mine, and that's okay. It sure was fun to be reminded of God's beautiful creation and everything that he has made. We've been reading the Psalms from the Bible to be reminded about God's beautiful creation and how we can sing to him or talk to him or paint to him our praises. In Psalm 85, one of the translations says, "Lord, your love has poured out so many amazing blessings on the land." Wow, amazing blessings that God has poured out with his love on us, including flowers, right? Later in Psalm 85, it says, "Flowers of your faithfulness are blooming on the earth." God is faithful. That means he does what he says he's going to do, and he's always with us. That's his promise, and he doesn't break his promises. He is with you right now, whatever you're doing this summer, just like he was with us painting. I hope you enjoyed this week. I certainly did. And I would love to see your paintings. Take a picture and send it to me at the email address below. And as you are going out this summer, look for more of God's beautiful creations and go ahead and tell him, "God, this is an amazing blessing that you've given us. Thank you." Next week, please be sure to join us again. We will be speaking with someone who will be focusing on God's beautiful creations through the lens of a camera. I hope you'll join us. It's definitely going to be an interesting discussion. And remember, God wants to spend time with you every day in every way. Why? Because he made you. You are his precious child, and he loves you so much. So go, be creative with God. I'll see you again soon. Bye.